If Wonder Woman's sword can cut through literally anything, then it should be able to slice and dice through Godzilla, right? Well, not so fast. The Amazonian princess has had her hands on this indestructible blade for thousands of years, and she has proven that it is capable of cutting through incredibly tough materials such as adamantium, the strongest metal in the world. But can this seemingly magical blade really cut through a gigantic fire-breathing lizard? Will Wonder Woman's sword break if it hits Godzilla? Or will the king of the monsters shrug off the attack? Let's dive into today's big question. The indestructible nature of Wonder Woman's sword is one of the reasons why it is such an iconic weapon. This sword is a very important part of Wonder Woman lore and has been passed down for generations among the Amazons, who have wielded it throughout history. Wonder Woman received her sword from her mother, Queen Hippolyta, after Diana was created by the gods and raised by the Amazons. Even though the lasso of truth and bracelets of submission are two of Diana's most recognized weapons, the sword is actually her main weapon. In fact, in some comics, Diana is even known to favor her sword over her other weapons. Wonder Woman has used her sword to fight against many dangerous opponents, and she has proven that the blade is capable of cutting through just about anything. So what exactly is Wonder Woman's sword made out of? It is typically crafted from materials such as steel, but it also contains traces of magic within it. The origin of Wonder Woman's sword dates back to an ancient battle between the Amazons and the Greek army. During the war, the Amazonian general came across the body of a slain warrior and noticed that the man's sword was unlike any she had ever seen before. She took the sword with her back to the Amazonian kingdom and presented it to the queen. The queen then gave the sword to her daughter, Diana, telling her that she would one day need its power. Soon after, Diana left the Amazons to travel the world, and the sword became her main weapon. When Diana returned to the Themyscira, she defeated her evil aunt Circe, using the sword, cementing its importance in Amazon mythology. Over the years, Wonder Woman has continued to use her sword to protect the innocent and fight evildoers, and she has proven that the blade is capable of cutting through just about anything. One of the most impressive feats of Wonder Woman's sword is when she used it to cut through the armor of Doomsday, one of DC's most powerful villains. Doomsday was a monstrous creature who was virtually indestructible. He had the ability to absorb and adapt to any attack that he was faced with. This meant that conventional weapons were useless against him. However, Wonder Woman managed to defeat Doomsday by using her sword to cut through his armor, which may seem like something that should be impossible. How did her sword manage to pierce through the seemingly impenetrable hide of the monster? Well, there are a few different things at play here. Firstly, the sheer force of Wonder Woman's swing was so powerful that it caused the air around the sword to compress, creating a shockwave that helped the blade to pierce through Doomsday's skin. Additionally, Wonder Woman's sword is no ordinary blade. It is infused with magic that gives it enhanced properties. The combination of these factors allowed Wonder Woman's sword to cut through Doomsday's armor, as if it were made of butter. And since Doomsday's hide was largely impervious to conventional weapons, it seems likely that this would also be the case against Godzilla. However, while Wonder Woman's sword may be able to pierce through Godzilla's skin and scales, it's unlikely that it would be able to do much damage to the beast. After all, Godzilla is not a normal animal. He is a colossal reptile whose body is filled with radioactive energy. In fact, Godzilla's hide is so tough that it has been shown to be resistant to attacks from helicopters and tanks. So even if Wonder Woman's sword manages to get past Godzilla's outer defenses, it's unlikely that it would be able to do much damage to the creature itself. But what if Wonder Woman could somehow infuse her sword with enough magic to create a powerful enough shockwave that would allow the blade to penetrate through Godzilla's tough hide and reach the radioactive core within? That's a good question, but unfortunately, we're going to have to say no. That is, because even if Wonder Woman's sword were to somehow break through Godzilla's hide and reach his core, it's doubtful that the blade would be able to do much damage to the creature. That's because Godzilla's core is literally indestructible. In fact, Godzilla's powers come from the nuclear reactor that is located in his chest. The reactor is surrounded by a special type of crystal that helps to contain the immense amount of energy that is stored within. If Wonder Woman's sword were to break through the crystal, then it would release a massive amount of energy that would most likely kill Godzilla. But it's doubtful that the sword would be able to do that. That is, because the crystal is extremely tough, and it has been shown to be able to withstand attacks from some of the most powerful creatures in the Godzilla universe. So even if Wonder Woman's sword were to reach the crystal, it's doubtful that the blade would be able to do much damage to it. In conclusion, the answer to our question is no. Wonder Woman's sword cannot cut through Godzilla. While the blade is undoubtedly powerful and has been shown to be able to cut through some of the toughest materials in the world, it is doubtful that it would be able to do much damage to the king of the monsters. That is because Godzilla's hide is incredibly tough and has been shown to be resistant to attacks from helicopters and tanks. And even if Wonder Woman's sword were to somehow break through Godzilla's hide and reach his core, it's doubtful that the blade would be able to do much damage to the creature. That's because Godzilla's core is literally indestructible. In fact, Godzilla's powers come from the nuclear reactor that is located in his chest. The reactor is surrounded by a special type of crystal that helps to contain the immense amount of energy that is stored within. If Wonder Woman's sword were to break through the crystal, then it would release a massive amount of energy that would most likely kill Godzilla. But it's doubtful that the sword would be able to do that. That is because the crystal is extremely tough and has been shown to be able to withstand attacks from some of the most powerful creatures in the Godzilla universe. Now, before you go and start arguing that Wonder Woman could simply create a massive explosion with her sword, thus killing Godzilla in the process, let me just say this: it's highly unlikely that she would be able to do that. You see, the explosion that occurs when Godzilla is defeated is not caused by the destruction of his physical body. Rather, it is caused by the release of the immense amount of nuclear energy that is stored within his reactor. If Wonder Woman were to somehow break through Godzilla's crystal containment unit, then yes, it would release a massive explosion that would most likely kill him. However, it's doubtful that she would be able to do that. Not only is the crystal extremely tough, but it is also protected by Godzilla's thick hide and scales. Furthermore, Wonder Woman would need to strike the crystal with the full force of her sword in order to break it, and she would need to do it in a very short amount of time. Otherwise, Godzilla would most likely detect the attack and move out of the way. This is because the king of the monsters has a precognitive sense that warns him of danger, which allows him to dodge attacks from his enemies. So even if Wonder Woman managed to get close enough to Godzilla to strike his sword at his core, it's doubtful that she would be able to do it before he moved out of the way. In the end, Wonder Woman stands little to no chance against Godzilla. Despite being one of the most powerful beings in the DC universe, even Wonder Woman knows that she wouldn't stand a chance against Godzilla. The Amazonian princess understands that the king of the monsters is a force of nature that is beyond her pay grade. Wonder Woman has fought against many dangerous opponents, but none of them have ever posed a threat that is as great as Godzilla. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed today's video. Now go ahead and leave us a like and tell us what you thought about today's matchup in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss another episode. See you next time.